Alright, so my presentation is about bullying, typically in schools, and the psychological long-lasting effects that can happen from bullying. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to start off with is, what is bullying exactly? Bullying is defined as the unprovoked aggressive behavior between two or more people. And there are four different styles of bullying right now. There are social bullying, verbal bullying, physical bullying, and cyberbullying. The first one I'm going to be talking about is the verbal bullying. Verbal bullying is classified as teasing, threatening, belittling, sexual comments, and insulting. And the primary thing that they damage about a person is their self-esteem. The second thing about bullying is the social, and that is composed of spreading rumors, purposeful exclusion, publicly humiliating, and blackmail. And what that does is that damages a person's social standing in their groups and their cliques and in school, and can lead to a lot of dangerous positions like feeling all alone, feeling angry, betrayed, and a lot of emotions like that. The next thing is physical bullying, and this is pretty typical of what comes to mind. It's fighting, spitting, rude hand gestures, theft, and sometimes it can even graduate into sexual assault. And so that primarily damages a person's physical well-being. And the last one, which is a bit more recent than these other forms, is cyberbullying. And cyberbullying is basically insults and threats made through email, text messaging, or any other forms of online messaging. Essentially what it is verbal bullying through electronic devices. Right. And so there are a lot of different variables on why kids are targeted for bullying as victims. And sometimes these things are pretty small, like maybe they're too smart for their own good or classified as nerd. Sometimes they're introverted, maybe they don't like going out and talking to people, maybe they don't like parties, maybe they don't like being a part of groups, they just want to like go home and read or play on the computer or something like that. Typically, bullying targets don't have very many friends. There are less people that will stand up for them. They're typically more the lone wolf category. And sometimes that people are picked on just because of physical attributes that they have almost no control over, like they have a big nose, or they wear glasses, or they're too tall or too short or too fat or too skinny. Basically, any physical attribute that is a little bit different can be used as a reason for other kids to bully you. And there are also some slightly larger things that kids can be bullied over. Like they could be bullied over mental illness like Asperger's or Down syndrome or dyslexia. And another thing that is a lot more common nowadays is bullying over sexual orientation. Like if a kid is gay or lesbian, then bullies will often pick on them and write mean things about them, and not very many people stand up for it because it's still such a controversial topic. A lot of people do it even in the background of faith, even if the faith doesn't necessarily teach that what they're doing is right. They're still using it as an excuse to bully other kids or people because of it. And that brings to the next reason, which is religion. A lot of times people can be ridiculed for their religion. Like oftentimes atheists will ridicule Christians or any other people of religion, and sometimes Christians will ridicule atheists or Muslims or other people for not believing the same way they do. And let's see, the last reason I have for why kids are targeted, though it's probably not as big of a reason now as it was probably about 60 or 70 years ago, would be race. People can be bullied basically because of the color of their skin or the country that they're from, and they have absolutely zero control over that whatsoever. So it's it's a very unfair reason. Alright. There are a lot of effects, psychologically and physically, of bullying. Some of the short-term effects are insomnia, loss of appetite, loss of interest in school, headaches or stomach aches, physical injury, and emotional volatility. And some of the longer effects of bullying are low self-esteem, depression, thoughts of suicide, and anxiety. So there are a lot of reasons why bullies bully other kids and people. And some of these reasons are that because the bully doesn't think that the person they're bullying is good at something that's popularly accepted, like sports, or maybe even if the kid actually isn't, maybe they're perceived to be gay or lesbian, and that's another reason why people would bully them. But as for the bullies themselves, studies have shown that bullies are more likely not to have two biological parents. They're more likely to come from broken homes or living in extended family or adopted. And so that can cause a lot of angst, I guess, amongst them. And let's see. And also, statistics have shown that bullies are more likely to use alcohol or substance abuse. In fact, I believe a study said that about 59, or it was out of over 600 students that had been asked by a study, it said that about 59% of people that had reported that they had bullied others about 59% had said that they had been offered alcohol or drugs in the last week, as opposed to 29% of kids that had not reported bullying others. That also shows that bullies have a higher risk for mental problems like depression and anxiety and hostility. So as it turns out that even if you're not the victim of bullying, and in fact that you are the bully, bullying can still affect you in a negative way. Because oftentimes bullies pick on other kids in order to feel better about themselves, either through jealousy or just out of feelings of inferiority. Sometimes bullies are kids or people that have been bullied in the past, maybe by older siblings or parents or by adults in their life. And so they take that aggression in and they build it up and then transfer it out among their classmates or students or just people that they don't really like. Some people don't really fall into the above categories I just listed. Some of them bully other kids because they think that it's socially acceptable, or that they think it's just a normal thing to do, or they just want the attention or admiration of their fellow classmates that they get from picking on other kids and make themselves look better for it. And I have a couple examples of bullying that have happened, I believe, or I have 3 examples right now. 2 of them are from, I believe, 2012, and the other one, I believe, happened a few months ago, probably back in 2013. The first one is pretty famous, probably most all of you heard it. It's Amanda Todd. Her video that she presented on YouTube actually went viral of her story of bullying. She was a Vancouver teen. In 7th grade, she was with friends online, talking to people, meeting people through webcam, and in 7th grade she was actually flattered into flashing her breasts onto camera. And a year after she did that, the guy she flashed her breast to on camera contacted her again and started blackmailing her, threatening to, or he knew, as Amanda said in the video, everything about her, her school, her friends, her home, her life, pretty much. And so he started blackmailing her unless she gave him more. And so she didn't, and so her picture was distributed to basically her entire classmates, and she was bullied mercilessly for that. And so what she ended up doing was she ended up moving schools. She switched schools, but the fellow came after her again. He actually created a Facebook page using her picture as the profile picture for it. And she, no matter where she went, she couldn't get away from it. She ended up moving or switching schools 2 more times, I believe. And in the end, she just created the YouTube video online about it, and then a month later, she hung herself. Right. The next one, or the next example I have is of a girl called Jessica Laney, also back in 2012. And I was not able to find as much information about this because it didn't get as big as the Amanda Todd case did. But as to my understanding, she was bullied savagely by cyberbullying, mostly on the website Ask.fm, which is a website where people can ask you anonymous questions, you can answer them. But she was told to quote unquote kill herself very many times, and eventually she, like Amanda Todd, hung herself because she couldn't deal with it anymore. In my personal life, I have not really been bullied. However, bullying is still something I take very seriously. I get very angry when I see it in practice, and I really hate it. As a homeschool student, there hasn't been exactly as many opportunities for me to be bullied as there would if I had gone to a public school. But I have had friends who have been bullied in the past and have gotten to the point where they have such a low self-esteem of themselves, a low impression of themselves, that they can't take compliments in a kind manner because they always think it's backhanded or there's something ulterior motive for it. And so that's just a really sad thing to happen. 2 of my friends, or actually, yeah, about 2 of my friends, they told me after the fact, probably a couple months after I met them, that I'd actually saved their life because I had been kind to them and not bullied them. 2 people, separate occasions. So that just shows you just how important you can be to another person if you just decide to be kind to them instead of blowing them off or ignoring them. And the last example I have is actually a success story of bullying. It's about a 16-year-old disabled sophomore called Shy Johnson. And what Shy did was Shy was bullied mercilessly in school. And so her mother contacted a neighbor of hers who was the captain of the football team and asked him if he could help out Shy, like maybe walk her to classes or something so that she wouldn't be bullied as much. And what he did was he turned it around and he presented it to the rest of the football team, and the entire football team got together and basically formed an anti-bullying committee for Shy Johnson, and she nicknamed them her Shy Guys. And that happened last year in 2013, and as so far she hasn't been bullied again. So that was pretty good. Okay, so my main point I'm trying to make in this is that bullying is a serious issue. It needs to be taken more seriously in schools and society. It's not just a little thing where kids need to toughen up or learn how to fight back. It can cause serious, long-lasting psychological effects, and it can, increasingly so nowadays, result in suicide. And we need to take this more seriously.
Okay. Thank you.